Have you ever felt your heart beating fast when someone asks you a question in English? Perhaps your hands start to sweat, or your mind goes completely blank, and the words you studied so hard just disappear. It is a terrible feeling, isn't it? You know the vocabulary, and you know the grammar, but in that stressful moment, everything feels impossible. But what if I told you that the secret to speaking and understanding English isn't studying more hours or memorizing more lists? What if the secret is actually doing less? Welcome to English in Fluency. I am your host, Alex, and I am so happy you are here with me today. In this comprehensive session, we are going to explore a very powerful idea. The idea is that English becomes easier when you relax your mind. We are going to practice listening at a B1 level using simple, clear English, and while we practice, we are going to learn why calm learners actually learn faster. So, take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's begin this journey together. If you enjoy our sessions and want to support this community of calm learners, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the like button. It helps us reach more students just like you. Let's start by talking about how our brains work when we are learning a language. Imagine your brain is like a door. When you are happy, relaxed, and interested, the door is wide open. Information can walk right in. You hear a new word, and it goes straight into your memory. You hear a sentence, and you understand the meaning instantly. But when you are stressed, afraid of making mistakes, or nervous, that door slams shut. This is what language experts call the affective filter. It is like a wall that anxiety builds. Even if someone is shouting the answer at you, if that door is closed, you simply cannot hear it. Today, our goal is to keep that door wide open. We do this by changing how we feel about English. Instead of seeing English as a test we might fail, we will start to see it as a warm conversation with a friend. To understand this better, I want to tell you a story about a man named Leo. Leo was a very dedicated student. He moved to a new city where everyone spoke English, and he wanted to be perfect. Every morning, Leo woke up at 5 o'clock. He opened his grammar books and studied focused rules for 2 hours. He memorized lists of irregular verbs while he ate his breakfast. On the bus to work, he used flashcards to learn difficult vocabulary. Leo was working very hard. But a strange thing happened whenever he tried to speak to real people. One day, he went to a bakery to buy a loaf of bread and a coffee. He had practiced the sentence in his head 10 times. He walked up to the counter, but when the woman behind the register looked at him and smiled, Leo froze. His heart raced. He forgot the word for bread. He pointed at the shelf, mumbled something quiet, and paid quickly. He left the bakery feeling defeated and sad. He thought he was not smart enough. He thought he needed to study even harder. Maybe you can relate to Leo. Maybe you have felt that pressure to be perfect. But the problem wasn't Leo's intelligence. The problem was his tension. A few weeks later, Leo met a neighbor named Maya. Maya was an artist who painted beautiful landscapes in the park. Maya also spoke English as a second language, but she spoke with such ease and confidence. She made mistakes, sure. Sometimes she used the wrong verb tense, or she forgot a word. But she laughed, used her hands to explain, and kept talking. She was always relaxed. One afternoon, Leo asked Maya her secret. He asked which grammar book she used, or how many hours she studied. Maya smiled and put down her paintbrush. She told Leo that she didn't study grammar books all day. She told him that she learned English by doing things she enjoyed. She listened to music she liked. She watched funny cooking shows, and she chatted with people without worrying about being perfect. She told Leo that he was trying to hold water in his hands by squeezing his fist tight. But to hold water, you must cup your hands gently. This advice changed everything for Leo. He decided to try an experiment. For 1 week, he put his grammar books away. Instead of studying hard rules on the bus, he put on his headphones and listened to simple, interesting stories. He listened to podcasts about travel and food. He didn't try to memorize every word. He just let the sounds wash over him like water. He stopped trying to translate everything in his head perfectly. If he didn't understand a word, he just kept listening and guessed the meaning from the context. He started to relax. He noticed that the rhythm of English was actually quite musical. It wasn't a robot code to break. It was a melody to listen to. After a week of this relaxed listening, Leo went back to the bakery. He didn't practice his sentence 10 times. He just walked in, smelled the delicious fresh bread, and smiled at the woman behind the counter. He said hello. When she asked him what he wanted, he didn't panic. He just answered naturally. He ordered his coffee and his bread. He even made a small joke about the weather. When he walked out of the bakery that day, he realized that Maya was right. When his mind was calm, the English words were there, waiting for him. They had been there all along, hiding behind his anxiety. Now, I want you to think about your own journey. How do you feel right now as you listen to my voice? Are you sitting in a comfortable chair? Are your shoulders relaxed? Check your jaw. Sometimes we hold tension in our jaw when we are concentrating. Let it go. Take a moment to notice your breathing. Is it shallow and fast, or is it deep and slow? To learn faster, we need to signal to our body that we are safe. When your body feels safe, your brain switches into learning mode. Let's practice this right now. I am going to describe a scene for you. I want you to close your eyes if you can, or just soften your gaze and imagine this place. Do not try to memorize the words I use. Just visualize the picture in your mind. Imagine you are walking through a quiet, green forest. It is early in the morning, and the air is cool and fresh. You can smell the scent of pine trees and damp earth. Under your feet, the path is soft. You are walking slowly, with no place to be, and no rush to get anywhere. Above you, the leaves of the tall trees are dancing gently in the wind. You hear the sound of a small river flowing nearby. It is a bubbling, soothing sound. As you walk towards the river, you see a wooden bench. You sit down. You feel the sun warming your face. It feels pleasant and comforting. In this place, there are no tests. There are no grammar rules to worry about. There is only the sound of the water and the wind. This feeling of peace you are imagining right now is the perfect state for learning English. When you listen to English in this state of mind, you are doing something called passive absorption. It is how babies learn their first language. Babies do not stress about conjugation. They simply listen. They observe. They connect feelings with sounds. When a mother smiles and says a word, the baby feels good and remembers that sound. We want to copy that natural process. We want to connect English with feeling good. If every time you study, you feel stressed, your brain will start to dislike English. It will try to avoid it to protect you from the stress. But if you make your listening practice a time of rest and kindness to yourself, your brain will start to crave it. You will look forward to your English time because it is your time to relax. Let's go back to Leo's story for a moment to see how this changed his life long term. Leo stopped waking up at 5 in the morning to drill hard exercises. Instead, he woke up and made a cup of tea. He sat by his window and listened to an audio diary of someone living in a different country. He enjoyed the stories. Because he was enjoying the content, he wanted to understand more. This curiosity is a powerful fuel. Anxiety is like a heavy brake on a car, but curiosity is the gas pedal. When Leo was curious about how the story ended, his brain worked automatically to understand the new words. He didn't have to force it. He learned words like adventure, landscape, and tradition without looking them up in a dictionary, just because they were part of a story he liked. One weekend, Leo was invited to a dinner party by his neighbor Maya. In the past, Leo would have said no. He would have been too afraid of not understanding the conversation at a loud table. But this new, calm Leo said yes. He went to the dinner. There were 4 other people there, all speaking English. At first, the conversation was fast. Leo felt that old familiar feeling of panic rising in his chest. But then he remembered the forest. He remembered to breathe. He took a sip of water and told himself, "It is okay if I don't understand everything. I will just listen to the music of the conversation." By changing his goal, he changed his experience. His goal was no longer understand 100% and speak perfectly. His goal became enjoy the evening and connect with people. He noticed that people used their faces to communicate a lot. He watched their smiles, their eyes, and their hand movements. He realized he could understand the main ideas even if he missed some details. When he finally spoke, he spoke slowly. He didn't rush. He found that people were patient. They waited for him to finish his thought. They were interested in what he had to say, not in how perfect his grammar was. That night, Leo made 2 new friends. He realized that language is just a bridge between 2 people. It doesn't have to be a perfect bridge. It just has to be strong enough to walk across. So, how can you apply this to your daily life? How can you become a calm learner like Leo? I have 3 simple steps for you. First, you must lower your expectations of perfection. Perfection is the enemy of fluency. Accept that you will make mistakes and realize that mistakes are actually proof that you are learning. Every mistake is a step forward. When you stumble, do not be angry with yourself. Just smile and try again. Treat yourself with the same kindness you would show a child learning to walk. You wouldn't yell at a baby for falling down, would you? You would cheer for them to get back up. Be your own cheerleader. The second step is to change your physical state before you practice English. Before you click play on a video or open a book, take 3 deep breaths. Physically relax your shoulders. If you are frowning, stop. Put a small smile on your face. It sounds simple, but this physical change sends a signal to your brain that says, "We are safe. We are ready to play." If you find yourself getting frustrated during a lesson, stop immediately. Take a break. Walk around the room. Drink some water. Only come back when you feel calm again. Pushing through frustration usually just creates bad memories associated with English. The third step is to focus on content that is interesting to you, just like Leo did. Do not listen to boring dialogues about things you don't care about. If you love cooking, watch English videos about baking cakes. If you love football, listen to commentary on a match. If you love history, find simple documentaries. When your interest is high, your anxiety is low. You will focus on the message, not the language. This is the sweet spot for learning. It is called comprehensible input. It means listening to things that are just a little bit above your level, but that you can mostly understand. This channel, English in Fluency, is designed exactly for that. I speak at a pace that is clear and steady, so you can relax and absorb the language naturally. Let's practice this relaxed focus again with another short visualization. I want you to think about a hobby you have. Maybe you play the guitar, or you garden, or you knit, or you play video games. Think about a time when you were doing that hobby and you lost track of time. You were so focused and happy that hours passed by like minutes. This is called the flow state. In the flow state, we are not worried about failing. We are just doing. We want to bring this flow state into your English listening. Imagine you are sitting in a comfortable chair with a warm blanket. You are listening to a story about a traveler crossing the ocean. You can see the blue waves in your mind. You can hear the seagulls. You are not translating the words into your native language. You are just watching the movie in your mind that the English words are creating. This is the goal. Now, I want to address a common question. Students often ask me, Alex, if I relax too much, will I become lazy? Will I stop improving? This is a valid fear, but the answer is no. Relaxation is not laziness. Relaxation is efficiency. A tense athlete does not run fast. A loose, relaxed athlete runs fast. A tense musician sounds stiff. A relaxed musician sounds beautiful. The same is true for the mind. When you are calm, you have more mental energy available for processing new vocabulary. You are not wasting energy on fear. You are directing all your energy into understanding. You will actually find that you can study for longer periods because you are not getting exhausted by stress. Think about the difference between a clenched fist and an open hand. A clenched fist is strong, yes, but it cannot receive anything. An open hand is relaxed, but it is ready to receive. Be an open hand. Receive the language. Let it come to you. Don't chase it. There is a beautiful saying that says, "You cannot see your reflection in boiling water. You can only see it in calm water." In the same way, you cannot see your progress or your potential when your mind is boiling with stress. You need to calm the waters of your mind. As we continue our practice, let's listen to some common phrases used in daily conversation, but I want you to listen to them differently today. Do not try to analyze the grammar structure. Just listen to the rhythm. Listen to the music. How have you been lately? I'm looking forward to the weekend. That sounds like a wonderful idea. Could you help me with this for a moment? Did you hear the melody? English is a stress-timed language. This means some syllables are longer and louder, and others are short and quiet. When you are relaxed, it is easier to hear this beat. How have you been lately? Looking forward to the weekend. Try to hum the rhythm. When you stop worrying about the individual letters and start feeling the rhythm, speaking becomes much more natural. It becomes like singing a song you know well. Let's talk about another character, a young woman named Sophie. Sophie was a student who loved to write. She wrote in her journal every day in her native language. She wanted to write in English, but she was terrified of spelling mistakes. She had a notebook for English, but it was mostly empty. She would write one sentence, look at it, judge it, erase it, and write it again. She was trapped in the cycle of perfectionism. One day, she heard the advice to relax her mind. She decided to try free writing. She set a timer for 5 minutes. The rule was she had to keep her pen moving. She could not stop to check a dictionary. She could not erase anything. If she didn't know a word, she wrote it in her native language and kept going. The first time she did this, she felt very uncomfortable. Her brain was screaming at her to stop and fix the mistakes. But she kept writing. She wrote about her cat. She wrote, "My cat is very fluffy, soft. I don't know the word, but he is white and likes to sleep." She kept going. After 5 minutes, she had a whole page of text. It was messy. It had mistakes. But it was English. It was communication. Sophie felt a huge weight lift off her shoulders. She realized that she could express herself if she just allowed herself to be imperfect. Over time, Sophie's writing improved dramatically. Because she was writing more, she was practicing more. She started to look up the words she missed after she finished writing, not during. This kept her in the flow. Sophie learned that a messy page of English is worth 100 times more than a blank page of perfection. We can apply Sophie's lesson to your listening practice too. Sometimes you will hear a word you don't know. The old, stressed habit is to stop and panic. What was that word? I missed it. Now I am lost. The new, calm habit is to let it go. Imagine the unknown word is a leaf floating down a river. Just watch it float by. Don't jump in the river to catch it. Stay on the bank and keep listening to the rest of the sentence. Usually, the next sentence will explain what you missed. Or maybe that one word wasn't important for the main message. Trust your brain to fill in the gaps. Your brain is a puzzle-solving machine. It loves to fill in missing pieces, but it can only do that if you stay calm and give it time. I want to challenge you today. I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that for the next week, you will prioritize feeling good over working hard. Promise that if you feel stress rising, you will pause. You will step away. You will return only when you have found your forest mindset again. This is not being lazy. This is being smart. This is sustainable learning. You are building a relationship with English that will last for the rest of your life. You don't want a relationship based on stress and fear. You want a relationship based on curiosity, joy, and ease. Think about the most fluent English speakers you know who are not native speakers. Do they look stressed when they talk? Usually, no. They look comfortable. They pause to think. They use and ah. They laugh when they say the wrong thing. They have accepted that they are learners, and they are okay with that. You can be that person too. It starts today. It starts with this session. It starts with your next breath. Let's try one more listening exercise to solidify this concept. I am going to tell you a short anecdote about a gardener. While you listen, monitor your body. If you feel your shoulders creeping up towards your ears, drop them. If you feel your brow furrowing, smooth it out. There was an old gardener named Thomas. Thomas had the most beautiful garden in the village. His roses were vibrant red, and his vegetables were huge. A young man asked Thomas, "Do you shout at your plants to make them grow? Do you pull on them to make them taller?" Thomas laughed. "No," he said. "If I pull on the plants, I will break the roots. I simply prepare good soil. I give them water, and I give them sunshine. Then I wait. The plants know how to grow. I just provide the conditions. You are the plant. Your English fluency is the flower." You cannot pull on it to make it grow faster. You cannot shout at it. You can only provide the conditions. The conditions are good input, listening and reading, plenty of water, practice and rest, and sunshine, a positive, relaxed attitude. If you provide these things, you will grow. It is inevitable. Nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. Your fluency will bloom in its own time. Trust the process. Now that we have established this foundation of relaxation, let's look deeper into why we sometimes feel stuck in our learning and how relaxing is the key to moving forward again. Many students at the B1 level experience a phenomenon known as the intermediate plateau. It feels like you are walking on a flat road. In the beginning, when you learned hello and thank you, the hill was steep, and you felt like you were climbing high every day. You saw progress quickly, but now you might feel like you are studying every day, but staying in the same place. This can be very frustrating. It can make you feel tense and anxious. You might think, why am I not getting better? But I want to tell you a secret. The plateau is an illusion. You are still moving forward, but the changes are happening deep inside your brain, where you cannot see them yet. To explain this, I want to share a story about a farmer and a very special tree. This is the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. A farmer planted a bamboo seed in the ground. He was a very patient man. In the first year, he watered the seed and gave it sunshine, but nothing happened. The ground looked completely bare. There was no green shoot, no leaf, nothing. In the second year, he continued to water the soil and keep the weeds away. Still, nothing grew. The neighbors began to laugh at him. They said, "Why are you watering dirt? Nothing is there." But the farmer kept believing. In the third year and the fourth year still, nothing happened. But in the fifth year, a tiny sprout broke through the earth. And then, a miracle happened. In just 6 weeks, the bamboo tree grew 90 feet tall. It seemed like magic. But ask yourself, did the tree grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? Or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? The answer is 5 years. For 4 years, the tree was growing a massive root system underground. It was preparing a strong foundation to support its future height. You are like the bamboo tree. Right now, even if you feel stuck, you are growing your roots. Every time you listen to a podcast, every time you read a page, you are strengthening your foundation. If you stress and dig up the seed to check if it is growing, you will kill it. You must trust the unseen growth. Relaxation is the water that allows your roots to spread. If you are tense, the soil of your mind becomes hard and dry. Nothing can grow in hard, dry soil. You need to keep your mind soft, open, and patient. When you accept that learning takes time, the pressure disappears. And when the pressure disappears, you suddenly find yourself speaking with a fluency you didn't know you had, just like the bamboo shooting up to the sky. Let's look at a practical example of how this patience applies to listening. Meet a woman named Elena. Elena loved movies. She dreamed of watching American films without subtitles. Every Friday night, she would sit down with a bowl of popcorn and put on a movie. But within 10 minutes, she would feel angry. The actors spoke too fast. They used slang she didn't know. She would pause the movie every 30 seconds to look up words. A 2-hour movie took her 6 hours to watch. She stopped enjoying the stories. She started to hate Friday nights. She felt like she was failing. Elena's problem was that she was listening with a test mindset. She thought she had to understand every single word to understand the movie. But that is not true. Think about how you listen in your native language. If you possess a noisy connection on the phone, or if you are in a loud restaurant, you miss words all the time. But you don't panic. You use your logic to fill in the blanks. Elena needed to learn this skill in English. She decided to try a new method called the GIST method. She promised herself she would not pause the movie. She would turn off the subtitles. Her goal was only to understand the emotion of the scene and the main action. The first time she did this, she felt lost. She understood perhaps only 20% of the words, but she watched the actors' faces. She saw that the main character was sad because he lost his job. She saw that he was arguing with his brother. She didn't know exactly what they said, but she knew what was happening. By the end of the movie, she had followed the main story. She felt a sense of achievement. She had watched a whole movie in English. The next week, she understood a little more, maybe 25%. Because she was relaxed and enjoying the plot, her brain was able to pick up repeated phrases. She heard, "Get out of here," 3 times, and from the context, she knew it meant leave. She learned it without a dictionary. Elena learned that letting go of the details allowed her to grasp the big picture. I want you to try this GIST method with me right now. I am going to describe a situation using some slightly more descriptive words. Do not worry if you don't know the definitions of every adjective. Just try to feel the atmosphere I am creating. Focus on the mood. The old library was a sanctuary of silence. Dust motes danced in the shafts of golden light that pierced through the high stained glass windows. The scent of vanilla and old paper hung heavy in the air. Rows of leather-bound books stood like silent soldiers guarding ancient secrets. In the corner, a grandfather clock ticked with a rhythmic, hypnotic cadence, marking the passing of centuries. How did that feel? Did you understand sanctuary? Did you understand cadence? Maybe not. But did you understand that it was a quiet, old, beautiful place with books? Did you feel the peacefulness? If yes, then you succeeded. You understood the gist. The specific words are just decorations. The meaning is the structure. When you relax, you see the structure clearly. Now, let's talk about the physical aspect of speaking and how relaxation affects your pronunciation. Have you ever noticed that when you are nervous, your throat feels tight? Your tongue feels too big for your mouth? This is because stress causes muscle tension. To speak English well, specifically to make the sounds that might be different from your native language, your mouth needs to be flexible. Let's do a quick exercise to loosen up the muscles we use for speech. I want you to take a deep breath and yawn. Yes, a big, fake yawn. Open your mouth wide and stretch your jaw. Feel the muscles in your cheeks stretching. Now, let your jaw hang loose. Shake your head gently from side to side, letting your cheeks wobble. This might feel silly, but it is very effective. A loose jaw is a fluent jaw. There is a man named David who works as an architect. David is very good at his job, but he had to present his designs to international clients in English. David knew his technical vocabulary perfectly. He could write complex emails, but in meetings, he sounded robotic. He spoke in short, choppy sentences because he was terrified of pronouncing the eth sound correctly. He was so focused on placing his tongue between his teeth that he forgot to breathe. He sounded angry or bored, even though he was actually just nervous. His clients didn't connect with him. They thought he was cold. David took a coaching session where he learned about thought groups. A thought group is a small chunk of a sentence that you say together, with a small pause afterwards. It is how we naturally organize our thoughts. Instead of trying to say a whole long sentence in one breath, which causes panic, you break it down. Instead of saying, "I think that the design for the new building should be more modern because the client likes glass," you say, "I think that the design for the new building should be more modern because the client likes glass." Do you hear the difference? The second version gives you time to think. It gives you time to breathe. It actually sounds more professional because it sounds like you are considering your words carefully. David started using thought groups. He stopped rushing. He realized that the clients didn't care if his takeith was perfect. They cared about his ideas. When he relaxed his need for perfect pronunciation, his natural intonation improved. He started to sound like himself again. Let's practice this concept of thought groups together. I will say a sentence, and I want you to repeat it in your mind, or out loud if you can, with the pauses. Learning English is a journey, not a race. When I relax, my mind opens and words flow. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be clear. Feel how much easier that is. You are not running a marathon. You are taking a pleasant walk. You can stop and look at the view whenever you want. These pauses are powerful. In a conversation, a pause is not a mistake. A pause shows confidence. It shows you are comfortable in the silence. Do not be afraid of silence. Now, let's return to our visualization practice. We have visited a forest, and we have been to a library. Now, I want to take you to a place of warmth and safety. Imagine it is a cold winter evening. You are inside a small wooden cabin in the mountains. Outside, the snow is falling softly, covering the world in a white blanket. Inside, there is a fire crackling in the fireplace. You are sitting in a big, soft armchair, wrapped in a cozy wool blanket. You have a cup of hot chocolate in your hands, and you can feel the warmth of the mug against your palms. You watch the flames dance, orange, yellow, and blue. The only sound is the crackle of the wood and the wind gently blowing outside. You are completely safe here. The world and its demands are far away. In this cabin, your mind is clear. Imagine that in this cabin, there is a book on the table. You pick it up. It is written in English. You open it to the first page. As you read the words, they don't look difficult. They look familiar. It feels like you are reading a letter from an old friend. The meaning jumps off the page and into your mind effortlessly. You are not translating. You are simply understanding. Hold on to this feeling. This is the feeling we are aiming for. When you sit down to study tomorrow, try to recall the feeling of the cabin. Bring the cabin with you to your desk. Another barrier to calm learning is the fear of judgment. We often imagine that others are judging our English much more harshly than they actually are. We think that if we make a grammar mistake, the other person will think we are unintelligent. But let's flip the situation. Imagine you are walking in your city, and a tourist stops you. They ask for directions in your native language. They speak slowly. They use the wrong verb tense. They point with their hands. What do you think about them? Do you think, "Oh, this person is stupid"? No. You probably think, "Wow, it is brave of them to try. I want to help them." You listen carefully. You smile. You use simple words to answer. Most people in the world are kind. Most people want to communicate. The harsh judge is not the person in front of you. The harsh judge is inside your own head. You need to fire that judge. Tell him his services are no longer needed. Replace the judge with a curious child. A child asks, "How do I say this?" A judge says, "You said that wrong." Be the child. Let's introduce one more character, a young student named Kenji. Kenji was very shy. He joined an English conversation club, but for the first 3 meetings, he didn't say a single word. He just listened. He was afraid that his accent was too strong. In the 4th meeting, the topic was travel. Kenji loved travel. He had been to many interesting places. The group was talking about mountains. Kenji forgot his fear for a second because he wanted to share a photo on his phone of a mountain he climbed. He showed the photo and said, "This, very high, hard climb, beautiful view." That was it. No complex grammar, no perfect sentences, but the group said, "Wow, where is that? That is amazing." Kenji smiled. He realized he had communicated successfully. The connection was made. The photo and the few simple words were enough. After that, Kenji spoke a little more each time. He stopped worrying about his accent. He realized his accent was part of his identity. It showed where he came from. It was not something to hide. It was something to own. Speaking with an accent is not a failure. It is a sign of bravery. It means you can speak 2 languages. Never apologize for your accent. It is the music of your heritage playing through your new language. As we continue to relax, I want to address the topic of information overload. We live in a world with too much information. There are thousands of YouTube channels, apps, books, and courses. It is easy to feel overwhelmed. You might download 5 apps and buy 3 books, and then feel guilty because you don't use them. This guilt creates stress. To be a calm learner, you must simplify. You do not need 5 apps. You need one method that you enjoy. It is better to read 1 book slowly and enjoy it than to buy 10 books and never open them. Choose one thing for tomorrow, just one. Maybe it is listening to a song. Maybe it is reading 1 news article. Maybe it is writing 3 sentences about your day. That is enough. Consistency is more important than intensity. A small stream of water flows every day and eventually carves a canyon. A flood comes once and destroys everything. Be the stream, not the flood. Let's practice a grounding technique that you can use if you ever feel overwhelmed during a conversation or a lesson. It is called the 5-4-3-2-1 technique, but we will adapt it for English learning. If you feel panic rising, stop and look around you. Name 5 things you can see in English. Name 4 things you can feel. Name 3 things you can hear. Name 2 things you can smell or like the smell of. Name 1 good thing about yourself. Doing this brings your brain back to the present moment. It stops the spiral of anxiety. It reminds you that you are here, you are safe, and you are capable. Having learned to quiet our minds and trust the process, we are ready to go even deeper into specific techniques for learning vocabulary and improving flow. Let's talk about vocabulary. Many students feel that vocabulary is like a heavy backpack they have to carry. They think they need to know 10,000 words before they can speak. They have notebooks full of lists. Apple, manzana, run, correr, happiness, felicidad. They memorize these lists, but when they try to speak, the words are gone. Why does this happen? It happens because lists are dead. Words on a page have no life. Our brains are designed to remember stories, feelings, and connections, not dry data. To learn vocabulary calmly and effectively, we need to bring the words to life. Imagine you want to learn the word exhausted. You can write exhausted equals very tired in your notebook. You might remember it for a test tomorrow. But to really own this word, you need to feel it. Close your eyes and remember a time when you were truly exhausted. Maybe it was after a long hike up a mountain. Maybe it was after working a double shift. Feel the heaviness in your legs. Feel how your eyelids want to close. Now, while holding that feeling, say the word exhausted. I am exhausted. Now, the word is not just letters on a page. It is a physical sensation. Your brain links the sound exhausted with the feeling of tiredness. This is called emotional binding. When you need the word later, you won't search for a translation. You will search for the feeling, and the word will be attached to it. Let's meet a character named Carlos. Carlos was a chef. He loved cooking, but he struggled with English food vocabulary. He tried to memorize lists of vegetables and spices, but they didn't stick. Then, he decided to change his method. He started watching cooking shows in English. He didn't write anything down. He just watched. He saw the chef chop an onion and say, "Now, we dice the onion." He saw the action of dicing, cutting into small cubes. He heard the sound of the knife. He saw the chef cry a little from the onion. His brain connected dice with the action and the image. The next time Carlos was in his kitchen, he picked up a knife and an onion. As he cut, he said to himself, "I am dicing the onion." He didn't translate. He lived the word. Carlos learned hundreds of words this way. Sizzle, whisk, marinate, bitter, all by connecting them to his real life and his passion. You can do this too. You don't need to be a chef. You just need to be present in your life. When you are drinking coffee, think sip. When you are opening a door, think turn the handle. Narrate your life in simple English. Do not worry if you don't know a word. If you want to say, "I am pouring water," but you don't know pour, just say, "I am putting water in the glass." That is fine. The goal is to think in English, not to be a dictionary. If you really want to know the word, look it up later when you are relaxed. But for the moment, just keep the flow. Now, let's move to a powerful technique called shadowing. Shadowing is like a game of follow the leader for your mouth. It is the best way to improve your pronunciation and intonation without stress. Here is how it works. You listen to a piece of audio, like this script, for example, and you repeat exactly what you hear, almost at the same time. You act like a shadow, following just a split second behind the speaker. You copy everything: the speed, the pauses, the melody, the emotion. If the speaker sounds happy, you sound happy. If the speaker whispers, you whisper. Let's try a very short shadowing exercise together. I will say a sentence slowly. I want you to repeat it after me, mimicking my voice exactly. The sun is shining brightly today. Now, let's try it a bit faster. The sun is shining brightly today. Did you copy my pitch? Did your voice go up and down like mine? This is not about memorizing the sentence. It is about training your mouth muscles to move in new ways. It is like gym class for your tongue. When you shadow, you stop thinking about grammar rules. You bypass the analytical part of your brain and go straight to the physical part. This is how musicians learn music. They don't read books about how to play a song. They listen and play along. You are playing the music of English. There was a student named Maria. Maria was very smart, but she spoke English with a very flat, robotic voice. She sounded bored, even when she was happy. People had trouble understanding her because English relies on stress, making important words louder and longer. Maria started shadowing for just 10 minutes a day. She used podcasts of interviews. She would walk around her room, wearing headphones, and mumbling along with the speakers. At first, she felt silly. She felt like a parrot. But after 2 weeks, she noticed something amazing. When she spoke to her colleagues, the words came out smoother. She naturally emphasized the important words. She sounded more like a native speaker, not because she knew more words, but because she had the rhythm. Her confidence skyrocketed. She realized that fluency is 50% vocabulary and 50% melody. You can practice shadowing anywhere. You can do it in the car, in the shower, or while you are washing dishes. You don't need to understand every word you are shadowing. In fact, sometimes it is better if you don't. If you listen to a language you don't know at all and try to shadow it, you will focus purely on the sound. This trains your ear to hear the nuances of pronunciation. For English, choose a speaker whose voice you like. It could be an actor, a news presenter, or me. Listen to them and try to become them for a few minutes. It is a playful acting exercise, not a serious test. Let's combine our relaxed mindset with these new tools. I want you to visualize a new scenario. Imagine you are at a party. It is a friendly gathering with nice music and good food. You are holding a drink, and you are feeling calm. A person approaches you and smiles. They say, "Hi, I'm Sarah. I love your jacket. Where did you get it?" In the old, stressed mindset, you might panic. "Oh no, jacket, bought, store? What is the past tense of buy? Is it bought or buyed?" But in the new, calm mindset, you smile back. You remember the gist. She likes your jacket. She wants to know the origin. You don't need a complex sentence. You can simply say, "Thank you. I got it. In London. Last year." That's it. You communicated. You connected. You used simple words. You paused to think. You succeeded. The conversation flows because you didn't build a dam of anxiety. Now, I want to address the fear of getting stuck. Every learner fears that moment when they are in the middle of a sentence and the word just isn't there. It feels like hitting a wall. I went to the store to buy some, silence, panic. What do you do in that moment? Do you freeze? Do you apologize and run away? No. You use a circumlocution strategy. This is a fancy word for talking around the missing word. If you forget the word umbrella, you don't stop. You say, "the thing for the rain," or "the thing you hold over your head when water falls from the sky." If you forget chef, you say, "the person who cooks food in a restaurant." This is actually a very advanced skill. Native speakers do it all the time. We forget words too. We just describe what we mean and keep going. When you accept that you can describe a word instead of saying it perfectly, you become unstoppable. You can explain anything, even with a small vocabulary. Let's practice this. I am going to give you a word, and I want you to imagine how you would describe it if you forgot the name. The word is refrigerator. If you forgot refrigerator, what could you say? Maybe the cold box in the kitchen for food. Maybe the machine that keeps milk cold. See? Simple. Try another one. The word is airport. If you forgot airport, what could you say? Maybe the place where planes fly. Maybe the station for airplanes. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be understood. This skill gives you immense freedom. It means you never have to be silent. You can always find a way around the wall. As we near the end of this session, I want to talk about the power of small wins. In our rush to be fluent, we often ignore the small successes we have every day. We look at the mountain peak and forget to look at the beautiful flowers on the path. Did you understand a joke in English today? That is a win. Did you read a title of a video and know what it meant? That is a win. Did you say thank you to a cashier in English? That is a win. Celebrate these moments. Keep a success journal. Every night, write down one thing you did in English. It can be tiny. I listened to a podcast for 5 minutes. I learned the word shadowing. When you focus on your wins, your brain releases dopamine. This makes you feel good. It makes you want to learn more. Success breeds success. If you only focus on your mistakes, you will feel heavy and discouraged. Choose to see the good. Let's revisit our breathing one last time. Inhale deeply, hold it for a second, and exhale slowly. Let any remaining tension melt away. You are safe. You are learning. You are enough. English is becoming part of you. It is not an alien invader. It is a new friend. You are integrating it into your identity. You are becoming a person who speaks English. Say that to yourself. I am a person who speaks English. Not, I am trying to learn English, but I speak English. It might be simple English right now, but you speak it. Claim that identity. I hope these stories and techniques have helped you see English in a new light. It is not a burden. It is a joy. It becomes easier when you relax your mind, because a relaxed mind is a flexible, powerful, and creative mind. As we move into our final section, we are going to solidify everything we have learned and explore the final crucial mindset shifts that will carry you from being a nervous intermediate student to a confident, fluent speaker. We will talk about the danger of comparison, the power of micro-habits, and we will finish with a powerful visualization of your future self. So, for the last time today, find that comfortable position. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears, and let's dive back into the flow. I want to start this section by talking about a trap that almost every learner falls into. It is the trap of comparison. We live in a world where we are constantly seeing other people's highlights. You scroll through social media and see a video of someone who says, "I learned English in 3 months." They speak perfectly. They sound like a native. And suddenly, you feel small. You look at your own progress, which feels slow and messy, and you think, what is wrong with me? Why am I not like them? This comparison is poison. It poisons your confidence, and it poisons your relaxation. To illustrate this, I want to tell you a story about 2 hikers named Ben and Sam. Ben and Sam decided to climb a very high mountain. Ben was a competitive athlete. He bought the most expensive boots and the lightest backpack. His goal was to reach the top in record time. Sam was different. Sam enjoyed nature. He wore comfortable old boots and carried a camera. When they started climbing, Ben rushed ahead. He was constantly checking his watch. He looked at other climbers and tried to overtake them. He was sweating, panting, and his mind was full of stress. He didn't see the trees. He didn't hear the birds. He only saw the boots of the person in front of him. Sam, on the other hand, walked at a steady, slow pace. When he saw a beautiful flower, he stopped to look at it. When he felt tired, he sat on a rock and drank water. He said hello to the people he passed. He wasn't worried about Ben. He wasn't worried about the time. He was just climbing. Halfway up the mountain, Ben burned out. His legs cramped because he hadn't rested. He sat by the side of the trail, angry and exhausted. Sam caught up to him an hour later, looking fresh and happy. Sam reached the top that day, and he enjoyed the view. Ben reached the top, too, but he was too tired to smile. In your English journey, be Sam. Do not be Ben. There will always be someone faster than you. There will always be someone with a better accent or a larger vocabulary. That does not matter. Their journey is not your journey. You do not know their background. Maybe they grew up with English parents. Maybe they live in an English-speaking country. Comparing your Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 20 is unfair. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. If you know one more word today than you did yesterday, you are winning. If you feel 1% more comfortable today, you are winning. Run your own race. This brings us to the concept of micro-habits. Often, we think that to learn English, we need to move to London or New York, or we need to study for 4 hours a day. This kind of thinking creates pressure. If you can't do the big thing, you do nothing. But fluency is not built in big leaps. It is built in tiny steps. It is built in the cracks of your day. Let's meet a busy mother named Jasmine. Jasmine had 3 children and a full-time job. She had absolutely no free time to sit down with a textbook. She thought she had to give up on her dream of learning English. But then she discovered micro-habits. She realized that while her hands were busy, her mind was free. When she was washing the dishes, she listened to a podcast for 10 minutes. When she was waiting for the school bus, she used a flashcard app on her phone for 3 minutes. When she was brushing her teeth, she mentally described her day in English. I am brushing my teeth. The toothpaste is minty. These tiny moments added up. 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. By the end of the day, she had practiced for an hour. And because it was integrated into her life, it didn't feel like work. It didn't feel stressful. It became just a part of who she was. Jasmine learned that you don't need to find time. You need to make time. You can turn your dead time, waiting in line, commuting, cleaning, into live time for learning. I want you to think about your day tomorrow. Where are the cracks? Where are the empty moments? Can you listen to English while you make coffee? Can you read 1 page of an English book before you sleep? Can you change the language of your phone to English? These are small, low-stress changes, but over a year, they result in massive progress. This is the compound effect. Small actions, repeated consistently, yield huge results. Now, let's do a listening exercise focused on emotional intonation. In English, the way we say a word often matters more than the word itself. We can say the word really in many different ways to mean many different things. This is often where B1 learners struggle. They understand the dictionary definition, but they miss the emotional nuance. I am going to say the word really in 5 different ways. I want you to guess the emotion behind it. First one. Really? High pitch rising at the end. This means surprise. I can't believe it. Second one. Really? Flat, low pitch. This means sarcasm or disappointment. Oh, great. Third one. Really? Drawn out, slow. This means skepticism. I don't think you are telling the truth. Fourth one. Really? Short, sharp, loud. This means anger or frustration. Stop doing that. Fifth one. Really? Soft, falling pitch. This means sympathy. Oh, I am so sorry to hear that. Did you hear the differences? The word is the same, Rally, but the music changes the meaning. When you listen to English conversations, don't just listen to the words, listen to the music. Is the speaker happy, sad, angry, sarcastic? If you tune into the emotion, the meaning often becomes clear, even if you don't know all the vocabulary. This is another reason why relaxation is key. If you are stressed, you only hear the robot voice in your head. If you are relaxed, you hear the music of the human across from you. Let's talk about the dip. In every long-term project, there is a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning is exciting. The end is satisfying. But the middle? The middle is hard. The middle is messy. This is called the dip. You might be in the dip right now. You have learned the basics, but fluency seems far away. You might feel bored. You might feel like quitting. I want you to know that the dip is normal. In fact, the dip is necessary. It is the filter that separates the people who want it from the people who sort of want it. There is a story about a writer named Arthur. Arthur wanted to write a novel. He wrote the first 3 chapters in a week. He was so excited. But then he got stuck. Chapter 4 was hard. He hated what he wrote. He thought it was garbage. He stopped writing for a month. He told his friend, "I have writer's block. I am not a real writer." His friend, who was an experienced author, laughed. He said, "Arthur, you don't have writer's block. You are just in the dip. The only way out is through. Write bad sentences. Write terrible paragraphs. Just keep moving. You can edit a bad page, but you cannot edit a blank page." Arthur took this advice. He allowed himself to write badly. He relaxed his standard of perfection. He just showed up every day and wrote 500 words, even if he didn't like them. Slowly, the story started to make sense again. He climbed out of the dip. A year later, his book was finished. It wasn't perfect, but it was done. And in the process, he became a better writer. You must do the same with English. There will be days when you feel like you can't speak at all. There will be days when you forget simple words. Do not quit on those days. Those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days when you are building resilience. Just show up. Listen to 5 minutes. Speak 1 sentence. Keep the momentum alive. The dip will end. The plateau will break. And you will be stronger for it. Now, let's address a very deep fear. The fear of losing your identity. Some students feel that if they speak English, they are betraying their native culture. They feel fake when they adopt an English accent or use English mannerisms. This resistance can hold you back. But I want you to reframe this. You are not losing your identity. You are expanding it. You are adding a new room to the house of your personality. Think of an actor. When an actor plays a role, they do not stop being themselves. They just access a different part of themselves. When you speak English, you are playing the role of the English speaker. You might be a slightly different version of yourself in English. Maybe you are more direct. Maybe you are more polite. Maybe you are louder. That is okay. Explore this new persona. It is fun. There was a student named Hiro. In his native language, Japanese, Hiro was very quiet and reserved. He worried about being polite and not disturbing others. But when he learned English, he realized that English speakers often interrupted each other, spoke loudly, and used big hand gestures. At first, this felt wrong to him. But then, he decided to treat it like a game. He created a character called English Hero. English Hero was outgoing. English Hero told jokes. English Hero wasn't afraid to be loud. When he switched to English, he put on this costume. He found it incredibly liberating. He could say things in English that he felt too shy to say in Japanese. The language gave him a new freedom. You can find this freedom too. Who is the English you? Let's try a creative visualization to meet this English you. I want you to close your eyes again. We are going to travel in time. Imagine it is 5 years from now. You are walking down a street in a beautiful city. It could be New York, London, Sydney, or just your own city. You look older, but you look happy. You look confident. You walk into a cafe. You see a group of people from all over the world sitting at a table. You walk up to them. Watch your future self. Look at how they carry their body. Their shoulders are relaxed. They are smiling. They sit down at the table and start talking. Listen to their voice. It is your voice, but it is strong. It is clear. The words flow like water. You are making a joke, and everyone laughs. You are discussing a complex topic, maybe politics, maybe art, and you are finding the words easily. You don't look stressed. You look like you belong there. Now, step into that body. Feel what it feels like to be that fluent version of you. Feel the confidence in your chest. Feel the ease in your throat. This future is not a fantasy. It is a possibility. It is where you are headed. Every time you listen to a session like this, you are taking a step towards that table in the cafe. You are becoming that person. Open your eyes, but keep that feeling. That is your destination. We have talked a lot about input, listening and reading. But I want to briefly touch on output, speaking and writing. Many calm learners wait too long to start speaking. They think, I will speak when I am perfect. But we know now that perfection is a myth. You must speak to learn. You do not learn to speak. You must be willing to be a fool to become a master. Find a safe space to practice output. It could be talking to your pet. It could be talking to a plant. It could be recording voice notes on your phone and deleting them. The act of forming the sounds with your mouth is physical training. It is muscle memory. Start today. Say, this is a cup. The sky is blue. I am happy. Start small. Break the silence. The sound of your own voice speaking English should not be scary to you. It should be familiar. As we approach the final minutes of this massive journey, I want to summarize the core pillars of the calm learner philosophy we have built together. Relaxation is the key. A stressed brain cannot learn, while a calm brain absorbs. Perfection is the enemy. Mistakes are proof of trying, so embrace them. Focus on process over outcome. Enjoy the daily habit, and the results will come. Value connection over correction. Focus on communicating with humans, not passing tests. And finally, know that you are enough. You have the intelligence and the ability. You just need patience. You have now listened to a massive amount of English. Think about that. An hour ago, or whenever you started part 1, you might have looked at a 10,000-word script and thought, impossible. But here you are. You did it one sentence at a time. You listened to the story of Leo and the bakery. You walked through the forest visualization. You learned about the bamboo tree. You practiced shadowing. You met Elena, David, Kenji, Carlos, Maria, Sophie, and Jasmine. You carried their stories with you. This proves that you have the attention span and the dedication to master this language. The hardest part is already done. You have decided to do it. The rest is just time. The rest is just showing up, day after day, with a smile and an open mind. I want you to make a commitment to yourself right now. Not a commitment to be fluent by December. Not a commitment to pass a B2 exam, but a commitment to be kind to yourself. Promise that when you forget a word, you will not call yourself stupid. Promise that when you don't understand a movie, you will not give up. Promise that you will treat your English journey with love, not with war. If you treat English like an enemy, it will fight you. If you treat it like a friend, it will welcome you. Be a friend to English. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for trusting me, Alex, and the English in Fluency channel to guide you through this marathon session. Creating this content for you is my passion, and knowing that you are out there listening and learning means the world to me. If you have listened to this entire script, please leave a comment. Tell me, I finished the journey. I want to see your names. I want to celebrate you. You are the elite. You are the calm learners who will change the world, one conversation at a time. Take a final deep breath. Inhale confidence. Exhale doubt. You are ready. You are capable. You are a speaker of English. Go out there and let your voice be heard. Until our next session, stay calm, stay curious, and keep the door to your mind wide open. Goodbye, my friends.